This is Coffee with God, and I am Father Jose. Let us begin this day with the Word of God and a short reflection.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke, chapter 15, verses 1 to 32. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. By this time, a lot of men and women of doubtful reputation were hanging around Jesus, listening intently. The Pharisees and religion scholars were not pleased, not at all pleased. They growled. He takes in sinners and eats meals with them, treating them like old friends. Their grumbling triggered this story. Suppose one of you had 100 sheep and lost one. Wouldn't you leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one until you found it? When found, you can be sure you would put it across your shoulders, rejoicing, and when you got home, call in your friends and neighbors, saying, "Celebrate with me, I found my lost sheep." Count on it. There's more joy in heaven over one sinner's rescued life than over 99 good people in no need of rescue. Or imagine a woman who has 10 coins and loses one. Wouldn't she light a lamp and scour the house, looking in every nook and cranny until she finds it? And when she finds it, you can be sure she'll call her friends and neighbors. "Celebrate with me. I found my lost coin." Count on it. That's the kind of party God's angels throw every time one lost soul turns to God. Then he said, "There was once a man who had 2 sons. The younger said to his father, 'Father, I want right now what's coming to me.' So the father divided the property between them. It wasn't long before the younger son packed his bags and left for a distant country. There, undisciplined and dissipated, he wasted everything he had. After he had gone through all his money, there was bad famine all through that country, and he began to hurt. He signed on with a citizen there who assigned him to his fields to slop the pigs. He was so hungry he would have eaten the corn cobs in the pig slop, but no one would give him any. That brought him to his senses. He said, "All those farmhands working for my father sit down to 3 meals a day, and here I am starving to death. I'm going back to my father. I'll say to him, 'Father, I've sinned against God. I've sinned before you. I don't deserve to be called your son. Take me on as a hired hand.' He got up and went home to his father. When he was still a long way off, his father saw him. His heart pounding, he ran out, embraced him, and kissed him. The son started his speech. 'Father, I've sinned against God. I've sinned before you. I don't deserve to be called your son ever again.' But the father wasn't listening. He was calling the servants. 'Quick, bring a clean set of clothes and dress him. Put the family ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Then get a grain-fed heifer and roast it. We're going to feast. We're going to have a wonderful time. My son is here, given up for dead and now alive. Given up for lost and now found.' They began to have a wonderful time. All this time, his older son was out in the field. When the day's work was done, he came in. As he approached the house, he heard the music and dancing. Calling over one of the houseboys, he asked what was going on. He told him, 'Your brother came home. Your father has ordered a feast, barbecued beef, because he has him home safe and sound.' The older brother stalked off in an angry sulk and refused to join in. His father came out and tried to talk to him, but he wouldn't listen. The son said, 'Look how many years I've stayed here serving you, never giving you one moment of grief. But have you ever thrown a party for me and my friends?' Then this son of yours, who has thrown away your money on whores, shows up, and you go all out with a feast." His father said, "Son, you don't understand. You're with me all the time, and everything that is mine is yours. But this is a wonderful time, and we had to celebrate. This brother of yours was dead, and he's alive. He was lost, and he's found. The Gospel of the Lord.
Reflections on the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 15, verses 1 to 32. The Church offers for our reflection the parables of mercy, of the lost sheep, the lost coin, and the lost son. These parables of Jesus were not directed at the so-called sinners, but the Pharisees and scribes, who considered themselves righteous. Strange but true. Those called to conversion are not the sinners, but the righteous. Today's passage begins by saying, tax collectors and sinners were seeking Jesus, eager to hear what he had to say. The Pharisees and the scribes frowned at this, muttering, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." So Jesus told them this parable. The Jewish law prohibited them from associating with the wicked or accepting invitations to dine with publicans and sinners. Jesus not only breached these regulations, to go into the houses of such disreputable people, to eat with them and even welcome them in his house, he received sinners. The three parables are the invitation of Jesus to review the self-righteous attitude of the Pharisees. Jesus spoke of great joy in all three parables, and a feast is organized to celebrate the return of the lost. There is a curious point for our deeper reflection. The parable stresses on the return of the sinners who are already around Jesus. The tax collectors and sinners were flocking to Jesus, listening to him and sharing the meal with him. However, the so-called righteous ones, the Pharisees and scribes, find this difficult to digest, and they stay outside the Lord's banquet. Israel has always been a shepherding people, and the Bible often speaks of the pastoral language to describe the concern, tenderness, and care of God for his people. The famous Psalm 23 reads, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Or the moving scene of Israelites returned from Babylon. Like a shepherd, he tends his flock. He gathers the lamb in his arms. He carries them in his bosom, gently leading those that are with young. Isaiah chapter 40. Seeing the large crowd that followed him, Jesus says in the Gospel of Mark, he had compassion on them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd. In the parable of the lost sheep, the shepherd's behavior is unrealistic. He forgets the 99 sheep in the desert until he finds the lost one and runs from house to house, calling friends and neighbors to his feast of happiness. The parables of mercy teaches us that God is not a judge to be afraid of, but a friend who always loves. God's joy is when he can embrace and set free one who is plunged into an abyss of death.